My name is Sabrina Hale. I'm 32 years old. I didn't knock. It was my parents' house, the one I'd practically paid for in loans and quiet rescues. I'd promised Christmas like I always did, but when the door swung open, the warmth I rehearsed in my head wasn't there. The tree blinked, cheap plastic star, tired apology, and the rest was a hush big enough to drown in. No wrapping paper, no cinnamon, no burnt cookies, just a fork tapping porcelain in the kitchen like a metronome for a song nobody wanted to sing. "In here, sweetheart," a voice called, soft, tired. Grandma sat alone under the yellow kitchen light, purple cable-knit sweater swallowing her shoulders, a plate of cold stuffing and a hacked-at ham in front of her. She smiled like a soldier crossing a minefield, slow, careful, and slid a folded piece of notebook paper across the table. No envelope. My name in black pen. I opened it, 4 lines. "Spent your $8,500 loan on a family cruise. Sorry. Take care of Grandma while we're gone. Love, Mom." My mind snagged on loan and cruise and refused to move. The $8,500 I'd stacked from night shifts and freelance weekends was for dental surgery I'd scheduled twice and canceled twice because the family always needed something. Apparently, they needed a balcony suite on the majestic Aurora Moor. Grandma's hands trembled around a paper napkin. "I guess they didn't think you'd mind," she said gently. "They left yesterday." I sat. The chair felt colder than the room. No warning call, no conversation. Just a note and a refrigerator of leftovers for a woman who still winced when she stood because no one took her to rehab after she fell down the stairs 2 winters ago. Of course, they called me family when they wanted money. When Jacob needed help with temporary car trouble, when Dad needed a bridge for a gambling debt he didn't have, when Emily needed rent after quitting because her boss was negative. When I needed something, graduation, a birthday, a surgery prep, there was always static on the line. Grandma sipped watered-down orange juice and looked me straight in the eye. "We'll fix this." I didn't answer. Something inside me cracked, and something colder slid into the empty space. I pulled out my phone and opened the group chat. Silent. I scrolled back to November. "Don't forget to transfer the loan to Dad's account. Prices jump soon." Loan. They were careful with that word, generous enough to weaponize later. Reflexively, I checked Instagram. Emily had posted a photo from a steam-slicked deck, all 4 of them in robes, flutes up, the sea behind them like a screensaver. The caption, "Finally, some peace away from all the leeches and negativity." Leeches. I laughed once, bright and wrong, and it scared Grandma. "I'm okay," I lied. I thumbed a message to Caleb. "Made it. Family gone." Long story. 3 dots appeared, then vanished. He called. I stared at his name, then set the phone face down. I didn't need comfort. I needed facts. The garage still smelled like oil in old summer. Dad's dented filing cabinet crouched in the corner under a tarp, the kind of thing men point at when they want to seem like they've got records. I yanked the drawers, paper avalanches, bank statements, pension letters, dark-inked envelopes holding thin apologies. Grandma came in, breath a little short, and eased herself onto the stool beside me. She slipped a worn spiral notebook from under her sweater like contraband. "Started keeping track in 2016, she murmured. "That's when your mother asked for my pension login in case of emergencies. Funny how emergencies learn to wear lipstick." I spread everything across the workbench. My hands were steady. I'd balanced other people's chaos for years. Budgets, spreadsheets, inventory at the job that never stopped asking for one more thing. The difference tonight, the numbers were mine, the ledger personal. "Passwords?" I asked. Grandma flipped to a page labeled with a tiny blue star. "Here. Don't scold me about writing them down. I'm old, not reckless." "Old and brilliant," I said, scanning the list. My stomach flipped at how many entries used the same root word. I opened my laptop, logged into her bank. Recent withdrawals lined up like footprints. Gas stations Dad preferred. ATM fees that matched his errands. Zelle transfers to Emily with memo notes. Emergency, urgent, last time, followed by Sephora receipts and Apple Pay screenshots on her grid. Caleb texted again, "I'm here if you need me." Then, a second later, as if he'd remembered we don't fix Hale problems by hand-holding, "Tell me what you want me to do, if anything." I typed, "Just stay on standby." As I hit send, a like from Mara K flashed under Emily's cruise photo. Of course. Caleb's ex collected other people's drama like seashells. I set the phone aside for good. We built the audit as if we were laying track. Transaction by transaction, we traced the money's route from Grandma's account to the ship's booking portal to the celebratory Prosecco. I screenshotted everything, exported CSVs, color-coded by thief, by habit, by lie. The more I clicked, the more the room sharpened. Edges tight, air thin, the hum of the old garage light like it was cheering me on. By midnight, we had a spine. Dates, amounts, locations, patterns. By 1, we had a heartbeat. Mom's late-night logins from her phone, Dad's ATM withdrawals set to the minute of his lotto ticket runs, Emily's emergency requests time-stamped right before skincare hauls. Around 2, Grandma slid a new stack toward me, emails she'd printed because she likes paper to misbehave in the open. One stood out. He won't notice the deposit missing. He trusts us too much. Emily to Mom. My jaw clicked. I added it to a folder labeled Receipts. Sometime after 3, Grandma's head tipped back and her mouth fell open in a soft snore. I draped my coat over her shoulders and stared at the wall until the tools hanging there turned into a family portrait. Hammer, wrench, level. Things that fix and steady and measure what's true. When she startled awake, she reached for my hand on instinct. What now? Now, I said, we make them sit down and listen. I opened a blank email and typed the subject line. Formal report of elder financial abuse. Evidence attached. I didn't hit send. Not yet. People like my parents believe in bravado, not consequence. Tomorrow, when royalty returns from the sea, we'll set the table ourselves. Grandma stood slow, winced, and patted my cheek with a palm that had raised all of us and been thanked with leftovers. You always were the only one who stayed kind, she whispered. Kind wasn't the word anymore. Focused was. And by dawn, we had a plan. They rolled into the driveway the next afternoon like royalty returning from exile. Tires crackled against the frozen gravel, laughter spilling through the car windows before the engine even died. From the kitchen window, I watched the silhouettes, Mom's designer scarf, Dad's cruise tan, Emily's ribbons swinging from her braids. Even Jacob's cologne arrived early, seeping through the draft under the door. Grandma sat beside me at the table, her knitting needles clicking like a countdown clock. You sure about this, honey? Yes, I said, aligning the laptop just so, the audit spreadsheet waiting on the screen. Let's give them the warm welcome they deserve. The front door swung open. Home sweet home, Emily chirped, dragging her suitcase across the hardwood. She wrinkled her nose. Ugh, did something die in here? Mom entered behind her, sunglasses still on indoors. Did you even clean up a little, Sabrina? She asked, stepping over Grandma's shawl like it was clutter. Dad grunted, face flushed from buffet indulgence. Oh, you're still here, he muttered, as if I were an overstayed tenant instead of their daughter. Jacob plopped onto the couch, shoes still on, scrolling his phone. Man, I missed solid ground, he said. Cruise Wi-Fi was garbage. Sit down, I said evenly, my voice sharper than I intended. All of you. Emily rolled her eyes but dropped into a chair. Mom gave a performative sigh. This better not be another one of your family meetings. I'm exhausted. Good, I said, clicking the touchpad. Then listen. The projector cable blinked blue. On the wall, a spreadsheet filled the space between us. Rows of numbers, color-coded like a crime scene. Every dollar that left Grandma's account. Every emergency Zelle. Every withdrawal at Dad's favorite gas stations. Mom's smirk flickered. What is this supposed to be? Proof, I said simply, of theft. Dad's chair creaked. Watch your tone. I watched my money vanish, I shot back. $8,500 meant for dental surgery. You called it a loan. You called me family. Then you spent it on champagne and hashtags. Emily's mouth twisted. You're being dramatic. It was a vacation. We needed to decompress. From what, basic morality? I asked. Jacob chuckled. Come on, sis. You always make things bigger than they are. We were going to pay you back. Really? I flipped to the second tab. Screenshots, Venmo notes, and Sephora receipts. These are your emergencies? Highlighter palettes and sushi nights? Mom's face paled. Where did you even get this? From her bank, I said, nodding toward Grandma. You should be more careful when using someone else's password. The room went still. Even the heating vent stopped humming. Then I played the next clip. Kelly's voice came through, soft, breaking. I didn't want to go. I begged him. Jacob said if you didn't give the money, they'd just leave her and deal with it later. Jacob shot to his feet. You recorded my wife? That's illegal. She asked me to, I said. She was done covering for you. Dad slammed his fist against the table. You little snake, digging into our accounts, spying like someone who's done being robbed, I cut in. My voice didn't shake. I opened the last document, an unsent email titled Formal Report of Elder Financial Abuse, CC'd to Grandma's attorney, the Social Security Fraud Division, and 2 local reporters. You have 48 hours, I said, each word clean as glass, to return every penny, or this goes out. Emily's hand trembled. You're bluffing. You wouldn't ruin your own family. No, I said quietly. You already did. Behind me, Grandma rose, her steps unsteady but sure. She moved to the head of the table and rested her hand on the chair back like a gavel. I raised all of you, she said, fed you, clothed you, prayed for you, and when I couldn't walk, you left me here with frozen beans and moldy pie while you drank champagne on stolen money. Mom, my mother whispered, face blotched red, we didn't mean— Stop! Grandma's voice sliced through the air. You're lucky it's Sabrina sitting here. If it were me, this wouldn't end with an email. Silence pressed against the walls. Emily began to cry, half sincere, half performance. Dad muttered something about ungrateful brats and stormed out. Jacob followed, slamming a door. I stayed seated, calm. Mom lingered by the doorway, mascara cracking under her eyes. You've always been dramatic, Sabrina, always trying to make us look bad. I stared at her, at the woman who could justify anything if it benefited her. You did that all by yourself. When she left, the only sounds were Grandma's breathing and the faint tick of the clock. Do you think they'll actually pay? Grandma asked softly. They will, I said, because I'm not bluffing either. That night, I backed up everything to 2 drives. One went in my lockbox, the other to my boyfriend Caleb, who texted, You sure you're ready for war? I typed, It started the day they called me a leech. Then I powered off the phone and watched snow drift past the window like ashes. Tomorrow, 48 hours would begin. And this time, they couldn't hide behind family. The first 24 hours crawled by in silence. No calls, no messages. Just Grandma and me, sitting in that house like ghosts still paying rent. We made oatmeal for dinner. I watched the cursor blink on the unsent email like a threat wrapped in patience. By the second morning, I stopped waiting. I pressed send. Within an hour, the confirmation email arrived. Thank you for your submission. A case has been opened. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like oxygen. By nightfall, my phone lit up with notifications. First, a local news alert, then another. The headline ran above a photo I hadn't known they'd pulled from my public profile. Daughter exposes family for elder financial abuse. 8,500 loan funds cruise leaves grandmother alone on Christmas. The comments multiplied faster than I could read them. Some called me brave. Some called me heartless. None called me quiet. Grandma looked over the rim of her mug. Guess we're famous. I guess we are. On the 3rd day, the panic began. Jacob was first. 12 missed calls, then a text barrage. You didn't have to do this. We can fix it. Then, you're seriously going to destroy your own family over some money? Then, Mom, please take the post down. You're being emotional. I didn't reply. I forwarded every message to Natalie, Grandma's lawyer's associate, a woman with a voice like glass and a memory like a hard drive. She drafted letters of intent to sue all 4 of them, Mom, Dad, Emily, and Jacob. The official charges: elder financial abuse, unauthorized access to a retirement account, and misappropriation of family loans. Total owed with interest and damages, $14,022. That number became my heartbeat. The next evening, the doorbell rang. I knew it would. Mom stood there. No makeup, hair clipped back in a rush, eyes red. For the first time, she looked smaller than me. Can we talk? She asked. Only if you brought a checkbook. She flinched, reached into her bag, and pulled out a white envelope. Inside, $8,500 in a cashier's check. My loan, I said flatly. You're lucky to get that, she snapped. Do you have any idea what you've done? You're ruining our name. No, I said, stepping into the doorway, keeping her outside. You did that when you signed it. You're turning your back on your own mother, she hissed. I'm turning my back on a thief. Her lips pressed together, trembling, not with guilt, but with fury. She wanted control back, and I'd cut the wires. She left without another word. The next day, Emily called from her work phone, voice shaking. Sabrina, please, the article's spreading. My company's threatening to fire me. You work at a marketing firm, right? I asked. Then consider this market feedback. She sobbed. You're cruel. No, I said, I'm meticulous. We agreed on a repayment plan. 4 installments with proof each time. I made her email screenshots of every transfer, no shortcuts. Jacob, on the other hand, went online. He posted a video with dramatic background music. When your own sister turns against you for clout. He looked straight into the camera and said, "She edited everything. She's sick." I watched it twice, then I smiled. Natalie filed for wage garnishment that afternoon. That night, Kelly, his wife, called me. Her voice was steady this time. "I left him," she said. "I'm done lying for him." "Do you have somewhere to go?" I asked. "I'll figure it out," she said quietly. "You gave me permission to stop pretending." When I hung up, I felt something unclench deep inside, a knot I'd been feeding for years. By week's end, the chain reaction was complete. $8,500 repaid by Mom and Dad. $300 from Emily, plus interest. $2,700 from Jacob after borrowing from his own boss, who made him sign a repayment plan like a scolded intern. Total $14,300 and change. Caleb came by the following evening, standing at the porch with 2 paper cups of coffee. "You won," he said softly. "I didn't play to win," I said. "I played to stop losing." He nodded, searching my face. "You sure you're okay?" "I'm lighter," I said. "It's strange." He smiled. "That's what honesty weighs." I looked at him, solid, kind, the one person who never asked me to shrink. For a heartbeat, I thought of Mara, his ex, still liking my family's posts online like she was watching a show. I almost laughed. Let her. Later, I sat with Grandma in the living room, both of us too tired to celebrate. The check sat on the coffee table beside a cooling pot of tea. "They think it's over," I said. "It is," Grandma said. "For them. And for us?" She leaned back, eyes closing. "For us, it's just quieter now. That's the prize, honey. Quiet." I watched the snow outside thicken over the driveway, erasing their tire tracks one flake at a time. For the first time in my life, silence didn't feel empty. It felt earned. 2 weeks later, the money cleared. Every penny sat in the account like proof of something sacred. Finally, what was mine stayed mine. I booked the dental surgery. Then I ordered Grandma a proper lift chair, a home nurse twice a week, and a grocery delivery subscription she could actually trust. The rest I moved into a new savings account under her name, co-signed only by me. Password handwritten in pen, locked in my desk. When I showed her the paperwork, she blinked behind her bifocals. "They took everything from me," she whispered, "but they didn't take you." I squeezed her hand. "They never will." That night, the house was too quiet, but not in the same way as before. The silence had changed texture. It wasn't heavy, it breathed. 3 days later, a journalist called. "Miss Hale, your story's making rounds nationwide. People are calling you the woman who exposed the Christmas cruise fraud. Care to comment?" "No comment," I said. Then after a pause, "But tell them Grandma's doing fine." He laughed softly. "Will do." By the following week, the noise hit my family. Emily's employer released a statement about ethical image concerns. She called me in tears again. "They're making me a joke, Sabrina." "Funny," I said. "That's exactly what you made Grandma." Mom's Cozy Kitchen with Carla channel went up on YouTube. First episode, chicken casserole. Comments flooded instantly. "Did you pay for that oven with stolen pension money?" She deleted the channel within 48 hours. Jacob posted a reel with a solemn quote about betrayal. Background piano, black and white filter. Caption: "Some people would rather see you fall than rise with you." I watched it once, laughed out loud, and scrolled on. The world had a way of remembering the truth once it got air. Weeks passed. I used part of the money to move into a new apartment. 2 bedrooms, one for Grandma, one for me. The walls smelled like fresh paint and second chances. The furniture was secondhand but chosen, every piece a defiance of what they'd touched. Grandma's room filled quickly. Crocheted blanket from 1993, framed photos of her garden, a small clock that ticked loud but steady. She called it the fort. One afternoon, I caught her watching me from the doorway as I unpacked dishes. "I have a question," she said, easing herself onto the edge of my bed. "When you saw that note, the one they left on the table, why didn't you just walk away?" I thought about it, about that first moment, about the cold stuffing, about her voice saying, "We'll fix this." "Because I remembered who I was before they made me forget," I said finally. Her eyes softened. "I'm proud of you, sweetheart." That broke me more than any insult ever had. Days blurred. Caleb helped us assemble furniture on weekends, stubborn screws, laughter echoing off new walls. We didn't talk about Mara anymore. She'd stopped liking Emily's posts after the headlines turned sour. Sometimes at night, I'd find Grandma asleep in her chair, the news replaying our story again. She'd always whisper before drifting off, "You did good, baby." Then, one morning, it happened. We were in the grocery store, aisle 5, debating soups, when a woman approached us, mid-50s, tailored coat, kind eyes. "Excuse me," she said softly, looking at me. "You're the one from the article, aren't you?" I hesitated. "I guess so." She smiled, eyes shining. "I just wanted to say thank you for standing up. My mother went through something similar. No one ever fought for her." She touched my arm, light, brief, then walked away. Grandma's eyes filled instantly. "I didn't think anyone saw us," she whispered. "They do now," I said. And for the first time, I understood what all of this had been for. Not money, not revenge, not even justice. It was about truth, spoken out loud and left standing. After that day, I stopped checking the news. I stopped defending myself in comment sections. The truth didn't need my supervision anymore. It had a pulse of its own. Mom tried reaching out once more, a long message about forgiveness, family, and God's plan for healing. I didn't reply. I didn't hate them anymore. I just stopped feeding them my attention. Now, every night, I turn off the lights and stand by the window before bed. The city hums below, but inside, everything is still. For years, I feared what silence meant: neglect, rejection, being forgotten. Now, it feels like peace. They already took everything they could, and I took it back.